Uh, Hello and welcome everyone. This is Gnaneshwar Gatkar, and we are here for the live session, interactive session. Uh, for this session, I welcome here Dr. Durgesh Borse sir, as well as I welcome Dr. Dhananjay Devlalkar sir. Hello, sir.
Thank you. Thank you
Hello.
very much.
Okay, sir. uh, Before going through this session, let me introduce Dr. Durgesh Borse sir. Uh, Sir completed his master's in English literature and also cleared the NET as well as SET exam. He also did PGCTE, PGDTE, TOEFL, MPhil, and PhD. Now he is working as an assistant professor in the Department of English, Government Vidarbha Institute of Science and Humanities, Amravati. He has more than 14 years teaching experience, and his specialization is post-colonial literature and theory, comparative literature, contemporary theory, and linguistics. He also published books on historicizing the nation and history and nationalism in the novels of Amitav Ghosh. I welcome you, sir.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Before starting our talk, let me tell all participants that they can ask their questions in the Zoom group chat, as well as they can ask live questions by raising their hands. Uh, so I just want to ask you, sir, would you please share your opinion about the workshop and just tell something about your today's session?
Is it for me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Because after you, Devlalkar sir is going to.
Okay. Okay. Actually, the theme, the idea of this workshop, e workshop, is communication skills, and I think you have invited scholars to talk on various topics like how to develop reading skill and how to get over the fear of speaking English. Such types of workshops are much needed in today's scenario because you know that everybody is locked down and we do not have good exposure. That's why if somebody attends such kind of workshops and e-conferences and webinars, and if they get certain ideas for developing their own communication skills, then that will be very much beneficial to each and every participants of this workshop and e-conference. Such types of conferences and such types of e-webinar, e-conferences, e-workshops and webinars must be conducted so that student will be imparted with the knowledge of developing communication skill. And one more thing, that most of the students fear that they would not be able to speak in English properly, and they have this kind of inhibition in their mind. So such kind of workshops help them to get over or to come over the inhibition in their mind, so that they would be able to express their thoughts and emotions very fluently in English. This is the first thing. Second, that there are many spoken English classes in the market, and even spoken English books on spoken English in the market. But this is my personal opinion. It is not to offend anybody, that such kind of classes and such kind of books will never help student to get mastery over the language, over the target language. As Devadalkar sir has talked about the second language acquisition in his lecture. So second language acquisition or any language acquisition should take place in the real life situation. This is my personal opinion. Unless you get exposed to that language, means unless you listen to that language in your day-to-day life or in real life situation, it is very difficult to get mastery of that language. This is at this point I have also discussed in my lecture, that no book and no class will help you to become the master or to become fluent speaker in that language. So what you should, means all the participants should keep in mind that getting the fluency, or for getting the fluency, you must try to create this kind of situation or scenario in which you will get the exposure to the target language. This is the first thing. Second, such classes and books will provide you rudimentary knowledge, means basic knowledge. That basic knowledge must be utilized. Means learning any language is a practical thing. Means unless you do practice, it is not possible that you will be able to communicate or you will be able to speak in that language. This is the first thing. One more thing that I would like to suggest to the organizers, that they have actually, this is the best conference or e-conference or workshop. No doubt, I am just recommending one thing to the organizers, that uh, you must have included the topic on pronunciation. Actually, some speakers have talked on pronunciation. What is the problem with the Indian speakers, and especially the speakers from Vidarbha, that we are not correct in pronunciation? Most of our pronunciation go wrong. Why? Maybe it is the fault of the system itself. Students must not be blamed there. It is not their fault. It is the fault of the syllabus, or it is the fault of the system. So if that topic had been included, that would have been very much useful for the speaker, for the participants. Because we do speak English, but whether we speak grammatically correct English or not, that is another thing. Because while interacting, communication takes place, and that is important thing. What I speak, that is understood by the listener, it is okay, it is enough for the communication. But whether I speak grammatically correct, or whether my pronunciation is correct, that should also be checked, and that should also be learned by including such kind of topics in such kind of webinars and e-conferences.
Yes, sir. I think I love to hear Dhananjay Devlalkar sir's opinion about the same topic, sir.
Sir, I thank and congratulate both the resource persons of today's workshop. Dr. Nadeem Khan, a very senior person in linguistics and language, and Dr. Borse, who is my colleague also, and voracious and sensible reader. And he has talked about the reading abilities and how to read, that there is no shortcut to read. You have to read. Something you have to read, and slowly you will develop the habit of reading, and then it becomes a habit. And he has, I have listened to both the lectures of both the resource persons today, because I am going to substitute, and not exactly the substitute for not Nadeem Khan, but I am a filler, because of some due to unavoidable circumstances. He could not make himself over here. So I am a filler. I will not take his position. I do know that where I stand and where I am. And Dr. Borse and Dr. Nadeem Khan, sir, both of them have explained their respective points in such a manner that if any good listener follows those footsteps, within 6 months, you will have a command over English language. Now, the first question comes, why you need command over language? Why you want it? In order to show that others do not know English? In order to make yourself that you are much more superior and better than others? For what purpose you want command over it? By having only command, you will not get anything. You must require knowledge also related to that field. Suppose you are a businessman, or you are working in advertisement agency, and you are making some type of slogans or something, and you have command over language. How you are going to use that language, that is also important. That means the creativity should be over there. Only command over language will not do. But in order to have command also, it requires intelligence and hard work. As Dr. Nadeem Khan sir in his lecture, both the lectures, he has rightly pointed out that there is no shortcut. There is nothing instant. In my question answer session also, I have talked about that there is nothing instant except instant coffee and instant Maggie. English is not instant. The books which are available in the market, they will just act like a stimulus. They will create a spark. Even this our lecture series, whatever 4 or 5 days we are having a talk of various experts and talking on different aspects of language and communication skills, this is also a stimulus. By listening, the listeners, those who want to develop themselves, should try by themselves. They have to come across the difficulties. They have to overcome. As Nadeem Khan sir in his lecture said that you have to commit mistakes so that the mistakes will be rectified. But because of the fear that you will not commit, you will commit mistakes, and if you do not speak, if you do not write, because listening and speaking is quite easy as compared to reading and writing. Reading is also a phenomenon. Reading is also a difficult thing. It's not easy that you have a book and you read it. You must understand it. You must assimilate. You have to digest that what you are reading. And for that purpose, it requires very meticulous approach of a reader towards the text. By putting something in the hand and looking at it, that means as far digital media is concerned, I personally feel that digital media, whether the iPad and Kindle and the mobile, however good, however of a great quality, they will not substitute the text. What is printed on the paper is the best. So you must have a textbook, you read, you put a bookmark. If you go somewhere else, you come out and you develop the relationship with the text. You develop the relationship with the language. And that's where it grows slowly, day by day. At least a page, 2 page, 3 page, a short story, a novel, and so on. Actually, Dr. Borse is the authority to talk about the reading. I myself is not a good reader like him. But still, I feel that unless until you read it, you will not develop the other skills related to the language. And it has its own beauty. English has beauty, Marathi has beauty, Hindi has beauty. All languages are beautiful. In order to understand the beauty of that language, you must develop that sense to see the beauty. That's why it has been said that the beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder and not in the object itself. I thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to listen to Dr. Borse, to Dr. Nadeem Khan and other resource person, and inviting me for this question answer session also. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are honored by your presence.
Yes, sir. Durgesh, sir, I just want to ask you that what kind of literature one should read for developing his reading habits or overall English language?
Actually, it depends on the interests of the reader, I think so, because some readers like to read imaginary literature like fiction, drama, and some readers like to read non-fiction books because non-fiction books provide you information. But what I personally feel that one should start with stories. Means there are many good story writers, and their stories should be read. That will help you to develop your reading habit. Because a story can be read in one sitting, so that will not be very boring, and you will not suffer from boredom. And if you start with the story reading, then obviously we'll move to read lengthy stories. Then you will obviously move to read fiction and non-fiction books also.
Once again, I want to recall
I think that every reader must start with.
Continue, sir. Continue. I think you stop.
I think the beginner readers, or those who are novice in reading, or those who are reading with the purpose of learning the English language, they should start with story reading. Why? Because a single story can be read in one sitting, and that will not be a thing of boring for you. Obviously, after reading certain stories, you will increase your interest, and then you should start reading lengthy books like non-fiction and fictions also.
Thank you, sir. Devlalkar, sir, your opinion, please.
No, as far as the reading is concerned, for reading you have to read it. Something you have to read. Slowly you will understand that where your interest lies. Unfortunately, what happens, by and large, people do not read at all. And then it creates when there is no book to tell you how to read. You have to read. That means if I recommend 10 books that read This Old Man and the Sea, read David Copperfield, read Wuthering Heights, but these books will not get interested, or the person will not get interest in reading of these books. And one must understand that where his or her interest lies. And in order to know where my interest lies, I have to read. It's very, that means it's problematic. Unless until I read, I do not understand what I read, what I want to read. And if I do not read anything, I will never come to know in which I am interested. No one will come to tell me that Mr. Dhananjay Devlalkar, you are interested in philosophy and read Nietzsche, read Kant. No, it's not possible. I must come to know where I am interested in. So whether I have to read Shashi Tharoor, or whether I have to or Jawaharlal Nehru's letters to his daughter Indira Gandhi, plenty of plethora and plenty of literature is available. written by Indian writers, written by the Europeans, by the Britishers all over the world, being an English language spread all over the world through the Britishers. Plenty of things are there. But as sir has pointed out, that start with a smell so that your morale, your interest will not be dampened down. So start with a story. And I have started with the story. Just a few days ago, I have had a Rabindranath Tagore storybook with me, and I am reading them. You have Saki and Munro and Premchand and Saadat Hasan Manto. Plenty of short story writers are there. Though they have written in their regional languages, their stories have been translated in English. These storybooks are with you. You read those stories, get interest, and you will go for some little bit higher. And that's the way you will develop the habit of reading.
Or just simply go to the stories of Panchatantra as well.
Then it will do Panchatra, Jatak, anything. Even Mahabharata and
comic
Ramayana.
books will also do.
Yes, sir.
Anything in English will do. Provided that you will understand that each and every line. And if difficult word comes there, you must have that much courage, strength, stamina to see its meaning in dictionary. Remember, if you read a comic book, a line comes, there is a difficult word which I won't understand. Through the context, I guess the meaning. Guessing will not do. Guess will not do at all. You must know the exact meaning of that word in that context, in that sentence. And that for that purpose, you need courage, strength, stamina, consistency to see meaning instantly in a dictionary. Put it over there, read that sentence once again, and go to the second sentence. And it's a very tedious task. It's very easy to walk 50 kilometers at a stretch, but every day for 15 minutes will not be possible.
Yes, sir. So there is a question from the participant, Dr. Vishaka Bhalerao.
Yes.
Durgesh sir, she want to ask you, sir, language and literature are two different terms. Language teacher become good teacher one time, but it seems that literature part is kept aside. So how to inculcate the reading habit among the teachers?
Reading habits among those teachers.
Yes.
It's a good question. But what she has mentioned that language and literature, these are two different things.
Yeah.
What I feel that unless you have mastery over language, it is highly impossible to be a writer, means to be a literary fellow. And second, that unless you have mastery over language, which you get through reading, it is highly impossible to be a good reader or to be a good critic of literature. This is the first thing. Second thing that what she says, that linguistic teachers are good in classroom. Does she mean that? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are listening.
Yeah. Literature teachers are not good in the classroom. Does she mean that? What I have got from her question. Actually, what teachers should do, actually, if a particular topic is to be taught in the classroom, it is expected from a teacher that he must prepare well at home. There are many teachers. Her concern is absolutely correct, that there are many teachers who go to the classroom without preparation, and that's why they cannot impart substantial knowledge to the students. This is the first thing. Second, most of the teachers do not use innovative ways of teaching and innovative ways of facilitating the knowledge. This is the second thing. So what is our concern? That teachers must inculcate the habit of reading a lot. And it's very simple. That suppose I am a teacher, and suppose I am assigned a topic of a Shakespearean tragedy. So what is expected from me, that I should read the Shakespearean tragedy and books about Shakespearean tragedy at home, or by sitting in library hours together. I should check out some books. The plethora of books are available on internet. I should download those books and I should prepare well. Unless I am prepared well, I will not be able to explain each and every topic in detail in the classroom or in any query that is raised by student in the classroom. So for developing the habit of reading in teachers, every teacher should take this responsibility on his own. No, that teachers
he is a teacher. That he is a teacher. He must know that he is a teacher.
He is a teacher. He should be well aware about the fact that he is paid for teaching, and for teaching he must read. This is the very ethical thing, that this comes under the teaching ethics, and every teacher or every person who is a teacher must follow this ethic, that every point should be meticulously prepared at home by reading various books, and then it should be explained in the classroom. Unless you are well prepared, you will not be able to make the students understand what you teach in the classroom. So this is your own responsibility. Nobody is there to regulate your reading habit. It depends on every individual teacher, that every individual teacher should read a lot.
Before going to Devlalkar sir, I
Yeah.
again want to just recall some instructions. Participants, those who want to ask questions, they can raise their hand, or they can just write their question in Zoom group chat, so we can ask them directly to our resource persons. Devlalkar sir, your opinion about the same question.
Language is taught through literature. That is one of the easiest way to teach literature. But the problem is with the curriculum, the syllabus, that what we say. And nowadays, when the semester system comes in action, we have very dilute type of syllabus, dilute type of examinations, dilute teachers, dilute students, and dilute influence on the communication skills of the students. So we study that language from 5th standards, and now 1st standard onwards unto the 3rd year of a graduation. Students are unable to do it, and they blame that English is foreign language and the teacher was not of that type, and there are thousands of excuses are there. As a system is problematic, but who is the system? We are the system. We are the stakeholders, as a parents, as teachers, as students, as policymakers, and so on. So from the UGC down to the teacher in the class who is teaching that particular text, everyone is responsible, and no one is bothering about it. Not a single morcha I have come across throughout India about the syllabus or the content of the syllabus, saying that the BA first year students, BA third year students are not how to study this type of syllabus, which is supposed to be. For TYBA of Amravati University, compulsory English syllabus consists of 3 prose essays, 3 poems, and 4 grammatical skills or writing skills, and syllabus is over. If I go sincerely to the class, and I do go, for which I get the payment, within a week, I complete my syllabus. What has to be done rest of the days? The students will lose the interest to come to the classes. I lose my interest to go to the classes because syllabus is over. And the board of editors are there, that Orient Longman Bakhwaj from Hyderabad published the books with all these board of editors' names on the front page. What type of editing they have done of those texts? Something already the prepared material is there, that I have taught daffodils or solitary reaper in BA first year, in BA third year, in supplementary English at 12th, at 10th. For how many times I have to teach that solitary reaper the same poem again and again? There is a Pablo Neruda is there, Sylvia Plath is there, but such type of content material is not available with Orient Longman. So they used to publish the same text to all the classes, and we teachers earning 2 lakhs rupees per month used to teach the same text without reading at home. And how do we expect to improve communication skills of the students when our communication skills itself has plenty of lacunas? So too many things are there to talk about and to think about. It's not a purview of our workshop, but by and large, the syllabus and the curriculum and the text which is prescribed, big question mark is there. And we have to find out the answer.
Thank
I
you,
myself
sir.
will not do anything,
Yes,
because
sir.
I have to save my job also.
There is one question from Mr. Kashif Ahmed. We want to ask you, as today's first session was about writing, so my question is regarding it. Does writing diary help students to develop their writing skill? Durgesh sir.
Borse sir, please.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Actually, this is one of the practices that every student, every learner of the English language must follow. That I have also mentioned in my lecture, that maintaining the diary is the best way to get certain things, certain good things of that language. And if you listen to that language, if you read certain texts in that language, then it is expected, if you are not getting proper exposure to speak that language or to communicate in that language with your colleagues, with the people around you, then what you can do, you should maintain a diary, and what you should read, what you should write, what are you expected to write in our diary, what you do every day, or a daily diary or diary of your daily things can be maintained. That will help to hone, that will help you to improve your writing skill also. And that is why maintaining a diary is the best way to develop and to improve your writing skill. And as we all know that there are four skills whenever you want to learn any language of the world. There are four skills that must be acquired. First one is listening, second one is reading, third one is speaking, and fourth one is writing. So writing is one of the skills, and that must be acquired by writing on your own. Means you should write something every day, at least 10 to 15 lines every day on. And if you do not find anything, as during the lockdown you do not you do not go outside and you do not do many things, so what you can do, you can take any topic. Just for example, Indian economics, Indian politics, literature, I read, my friend, my opinion about certain and certain things. So you can develop 10-line paragraph on any topic of your choice, and then you will come to know what type of sentence structure should be composed or should be constructed, and how you are unable or able to express yourself in your or through your writing. So writing or maintaining a diary is the best practice to develop your writing skill.
Devlalkar sir.
It's not only develop the writing skills, but it develops the person's personality.
Yes,
It makes the person disciplined.
Mhm.
That means, I think by and large, only 1% or 0.5% people might have the habit of putting the everyday activities, what happened to them or what they feel about some incident in their diary. But that is one of the best way to recollect your thoughts and to put it on the paper. It makes you to think it, to enumerate about the points that what happens throughout the day. What happens, that means what you feel personally, whether you are happy, unhappy, joyous or not. Some you have to must have some say, you must have some stance to look at some incident as a human being. You may like it or you may not like it. Both the things are acceptable. But why you like it, you have to put it down. I like it, I don't like it. Why you don't like it, put it down. So you, as a personality, you chiseled yourself out of something and you grow. Definitely. That means every day is a growing, not only of age, but intellectually also. And writing a diary is taking out the unwanted part of our own personality.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for such an excellent explanation of writing diaries. There is a hand raised question, and it is from none other than our director, Dr. Shrikant Patil, sir. Sir, are you there? Are you listening?
Yeah.
Sir, please.
I am audible?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. My question is both of you, sir. As a director of this lifelong learning extension department, I would like to ask you how difficult it is for adult students to learn English and concerning skills. Yeah, Borse,
The
sir.
question is very nice, actually.
Yeah.
As you are heading, or as you are the head of that department, that's why such kind of question is expected from you. And why this question has come from you, because you have first-hand experience with the adult learners. That is the reason.
Yeah.
Actually, there are many linguists from David Kistel to Bloomfield and many Sapir and many other linguists are there. In their opinion, at a certain period of time, a person cannot acquire the language with the same efficiency with which efficiency he or she learns the language before the age of 15. After the age of 15, it becomes very difficult to acquire the language. But it is not impossible task, actually. There are that is why there are various methods, there are various techniques of teaching and learning second language, and by following those techniques and by following those methods, you can learn not just one foreign language but any foreign language, or at least 2 or 3 foreign languages. Okay, and that's why there are Spanish classes, French classes, and Portuguese English classes. Before joining the Government Vidarbha Institute of Science and Humanities, I had some experience with English and Foreign Language University, where 19 foreign languages are taught, and I had interaction with many professors of foreign language, and they are of the opinion that okay, no problem, it's a psychological theory that after a particular period of time a person is unable to learn a foreign language, but we can develop certain techniques and methods with which we can be able to acquire foreign languages. And which those techniques are, there are many innovative techniques mentioned in books, which techniques can be used to teach foreign languages. But in my opinion, my personal opinion, unless a person has a direct exposure to that foreign language, it is very difficult to acquire the language. Suppose, let me tell you a very simple example. Suppose I am a speaker of Marathi. Actually, my mother tongue is Irani. It's not Marathi. Marathi is my second language. It's my language of education. Uh, but what I have observed, that if I go and if I was in Hyderabad for more than 4 years, and I had exposure to the Telugu language, and I was continuously listening to that language. I had continuous exposure to that language. In first 2 years, I was able to understand the language, the Telugu language spoken by Telugu speakers. If same thing happens with other languages also, then it is very easy to acquire that language. It means that what is important to acquire a language, creating the scenario, creating the atmosphere of that language, and giving proper exposure to the students instead of teaching only the syllabus book, as there are many lacunas, there are many loopholes in the syllabus, as Devrakar sir has mentioned in his talk, that in syllabus we cannot cover all the topics. It's highly impossible. So language can be taught through books, no problem. Rudimentary language knowledge, grammar, basic grammar knowledge, and vocabulary building can be done through syllabus. But learning language depends on the exposure to the real life situation. This is my
Yes, sir.
opinion.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Devlalkar sir, what do you think?
Sir, what I feel, as Borse sir has pointed out, that the age from 0 to 15 is very receptive. And the children are very eager to know. That eagerness makes them a good listeners, and they can acquire too many languages. In a metropolitan cities like Mumbai and Chennai, if you go, the children in the society are able to speak more than 3 to 4 languages at a time, because their brain and their ability is there. Noam Chomsky has pointed out that there is something called as linguistic residue is there in all the human beings, and we are able to pick up the language. As we grow of age, all the human beings, we become little bit lethargic, not of language, but in other subjects also. We are not going to teach only English language. For the adult students, we are going to teach sociology and economics and political science, history also. And all these subjects also become difficult for them, because the capacity to sit, the span of attention, the interest of the learners, that is most important. So what I personally feel, a teacher is the best teacher if he increases the interest of his students in his subject. Not to explain the subject. To explain the subject is different thing. There are thousands of people to explain the point to you. A teacher must increase the interest of the students in the subject that what he is teaching. Everything is not going to be explained, as sir has pointed out, which is not going to be incorporated in the part of the syllabus as far our schedule is concerned and academic calendar is concerned. All the points are not going to be included over there. But a teacher who is a facilitator also will make such type of presentation, will teach in such a way that the students will get interested in it at any age, and they will learn it. So it is the job of a teachers to increase the interest of the students in the subject, and student himself must be interested. If he is doing his education, graduation, just for the sake of increment and just for the sake of security in the job, then all our circus will be only the circus. That means why person wants to learn it, why person wants to become a graduate, because at 10th or 9th he might have not able to continue his education, because of some financial crisis or some family problems, and now he wants admission to the open education or distance education, and now he is learning. He must have inner urge, and that inner urge cannot be purchased from the market. So most of times people register for our MA classes also. We have 100 admissions at MA Part 1, but only 20 students come to the classes regularly and sincerely. Rest of the 80 students say that the TC was there, past BA, what to do. So just take an admission. If such type of approach is there, not a teacher, not a textbook will make any difference to them. So a teacher has to increase the interest, and students themselves must be interested in it. Both the things are there.
Now, hello.
Thank you, sir. Sir, one of interruption, that is find out. Okay. Sir, I again, one my question raised from me, that is this English communication skill is a process.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's a process.
Yeah, it's a process.
It's a process, right? So how this process we can assessment it? My second question is how this process is assessment for this process.
What should be
Which
the
types of assessment we
should
have
be-
own also, or we have in simultaneously family also? How we assess it?
Actually, there is a paper that is ELT, English Language Teaching. And in
Okay.
English language teaching, various assessment various ways of assessment are given. But as I have mentioned that there are 4 skills, listening, reading, speaking, and writing. For each skill, you can have various types of assessment methods. For example, if you want to assess the listening skills of students, then you can play an audio cassette, or you can play an audio, and you can ask the student to listen to that audio for 10 minutes or for 15 minutes or for 20 minutes. And after that, you can ask the student what they have understood or what they have listened. So student will come and they will try to speak out what they have listened in that audio clip or in that audio cassette. This is the one way. Otherwise, if there is sarcasticity of audio or clips or audio cassettes, then what you can do, you can ask one student to read a paragraph and other will listen to that reading. And the same type of method can be repeated here for listening skill only. And in my opinion, only a good listener can be a good speaker. So this is the first skill that must be acquired, that ask the student to listen to this speech or listen to that language properly. This is the first way. This is the second. Then how to assess speaking skill? Obviously, you should assign a particular topic to the student. They will come forward and they will talk. You can assign them very normal topics like which is your favorite national hero, or which is your favorite book, which is your favorite subject, or you can ask them to talk on any topic of their interest for at least for 4 to 5 minutes, and in that way you can assess the speaking skill of the students. Then reading, by for checking reading skill, I am just mentioning one method. There are various methods mentioned by linguistics in various books, and because of time's constraint I cannot tell you all the methods. I am just generalizing the answer. For reading, for evaluating, for assessing the reading skill, certain paragraphs should be given in that target language meaning in the English language. They should be asked to read those paragraphs, those pages provided by you, and then you can then collect those pages and ask them certain questions, and if they answer them properly, then obviously your assessment will be proper. Means if they answer correctly, then they are on the right track. There is no need to correct them. Then you can move to the writing skill, and by assigning certain topics to the students that they should write 5 or 6 lines or 10 lines on particular topic, and by collecting those sheets of answers, you can evaluate writing skill also.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for such a beautiful explanation. Actually, listening to both of you is an intellectual feast for us.
Thank you, sir.
Now there is a Preeti Gaud, ma'am. She want to ask you question. It's a live question. Preeti Gaud, ma'am, are you there?
Yes, yes, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. You can ask your question, ma'am.
Hello, you can ask.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
My question is to Bose, sir. That I'm teaching as a teacher. I'm in an institute of 10th standard students. Generally, my classes are for 10th standard students. In that, we having both means now in our education system, 2-3 types of boards means they are belonging from SSC board, CBSC board students. So how to encourage them means the students from Marathi medium, they are very neglecting language, English language. As far as we are giving them so many activities and whatever, but then also my question is that how to encourage these students?
Okay. Actually, you have mentioned that you teach to the students of 10th standard and English language. So you know that for CBSC and for IC or for English medium students, English language is the first language. And for Marathi medium students, English is the third language. And it is a very tough task to teach third language to the students. Why? There are various reasons, there are various problems. But what you can do to increase the interest of those students, that instead of strictly following the syllabus or instead of strictly following the text which is prescribed to the 10th standard Marathi medium students, you can invent or you can have innovative ways of teaching the topics which are included in your syllabus. For example, in third language textbooks, language is taught through literature, as Devralkar sir has mentioned, that certain short stories are prescribed, poems are prescribed, glossary is given at the end of that poem or the short story. Certain exercises are also given at the end of the lesson, and certain grammar parts and vocabulary parts are incorporated to improve those skills in students. So what is my personal opinion, that suppose I am asked to teach clauses, so instead of strictly following the bookish language, which is very tough sometimes, so instead of following bookish language, you can relate those topics to real life situation or real life examples. By doing so, by incorporating innovative ways of teaching certain points, you can increase the interest of students, because they have certain kind of inhibition in their mind, that English is very difficult language and we cannot be able to we cannot grasp the language, we cannot have fluency in that language. So first, try to help them to overcome this inhibition. This is the first thing. Second one, that you should try to teach certain topics by incorporating real life examples and by going outside the text.
Thank you, sir. Actually, there is another Gargi Patte Bahadur. Actually, it is not a question, but whatever she write is very interesting, and we can discuss that particular topic. She said it is to be said by the well-known essayist. Obviously, I know the name of this essayist. It's Francis Bacon. That some books are only to read. Actually, the original quotation is some books are to be tasted. Some books are to be chewed and some are swallowed and digested.
To be digested.
Yes. So indirectly, she want to suggest that some books are you can categorize books for your reading. So will you please elaborate it, sir? How we can categorize?
I think that Bacon's wisdom is applied to all ages and all readers. But in which context he has said so, that is another thing. if I am asked to prepare the list of books that during lockdown I want to read these books, then it is my choice, it is my interest that will decide the content of the list. Obviously, my content or the content of the list depends on my interest. So some people, as Devdalkar sir has said, that they do not like to read books of philosophy or on philosophy or about philosophy. So they, such readers should not go for philosophical books. If early in the morning he came to me, we had lunch at my house. So I showed him a book, Critique of
You,
Judgment by Immanuel Kant. So he saw the cover and he put the book aside because he is not interested in reading the books on philosophy or a book by a philosopher. So you cannot say that books must be categorized. If you don't want to read those books, don't go and don't read those books. It's your choice. It is your right. You are entitled to read any book of your choice. But Bacon has a different intention of saying so. You cannot say that this book is badly written, that's why this should not be read, or this should be, one should avoid reading this book. You cannot say so. You cannot categorize so. Your selection depends on your choice. As some readers are very voracious readers, whatever falls on their hand, they read that. They don't care whether this book is reading worthy or not. They just open the book and they read the book thoroughly from first page to last page. So it's my personal opinion. I am not contradicting anybody. I am not I am not presenting my counterpoint to the point raised by the participant. I'm just telling you that whatever interests me, I read that. It doesn't mean that whatever I don't read is not good.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Then I ask Dr. Yes, Naval Patil, sir. Are you there?
Yes,
Sir, you can ask your question, please.
sir, my question is Borse sir and Devrankar sir also. Sir, today's of is third day. I think one listening skill also, writing also, and reading. Suppose I find such word, I maintain diary. Board sir told today's session, and such word when I in my speaking, but I don't have that much atmosphere about talking with someone. So how search that type of partner, or I talk with in front of mirror, or I want suppose anyone partners or such type of. So how search? You have any tips for that type of? So please, it's my question.
Devdalkar sir, answer this first.
okay, I will. Now, Naval sir has asked about the atmosphere, and that what even Navid Khan sir has said, that ambience that you have to create around it. And if you don't have a companion to whom you will share your thoughts in English, so that he will point out some of the mistakes and you will rectify it and correct and develop inside it. If there is no one, keep a mirror in front of you, read a passage loudly, make it something by heart. It is very important, because if you make something by heart, no, that structure retains in your brain for a longer time. So it's my regular practice whenever I teach literature to my students. In BA first year, for if I have literature part with me, I ask all the students to make "Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him." A passage from Antony and Julius Caesar. And by making it by heart, that words, that sentence structure retains in the mind for a longer time. As you are talking about the companion and not having the atmosphere because of some other factors, we will create it. there are some few things that it is like a tips. That's not a solution. It's a tips that you can listen to National Geographic deliberately, Discovery Channel deliberately, TED Talks deliberately. At least for half an hour, you have to listen. Listen to Manisha Koirala on TED Talk about her inspirational speech, her experiences going through cancer and recovering out of it, and how she narrates, how she presents herself, how she delivers her sentences. Everything is very beautiful. That's one example. Thousands of videos are there on YouTube. So you will create yourself. You can make your own presentation. You can make your own video on your mobile. Speak something on single topic. Listen to yourself. You will find out the difficulties. Listen to some others where Sadhguru speaks quite good well. Osho speaks quite good well. Too many people are there who speak well in English. And you have to listen it. And by listening, you will acquire all the good points from all things. As butterflies takes the nectar from different flowers, that you have to be butterfly, and thousands of flowers are around there, and you have to pick up the nectar and develop your own honey so that you will be good in your communication.
Yeah.
Thank
Nice,
you, sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Actually,
Now again, there is Dr. Vishaka Bhalera. She is one of those few regular participant of this workshop. Dr. Vishaka, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Are you there?
Yes, sir. Am I
Uh,
audible, sir?
yes, yes.
Very good evening to all. Devralkar sir, you just missed me. All the fraternity and the faculty of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University. I was the student from the same university. I used to listen such kind of a lecture that I am listening to right now. So you remembered me all the things. So my question is like, apart having all the voluminous potential of thinking, of all the skills. Still, when it comes to the reading and the writing section, little hazardous come to the part of writing and reading section like denotation and connotation. So what will you suggest to overcome from such kind of a barrier? So I'm asking just to write the blog and all that purposes.
Now, Borse sir, will you answer?
Yeah.
Will you
Yeah.
respond, please?
I answer the reading question, or the question on the reading, that whenever you read a text, there are certain unknown, unfamiliar words, and those words must be understood by understanding the context. Means their connotative meaning is very important, because connotative meaning will provide the meaning to that paragraph or to that passage. Actually, ma'am, you, as you are working, and you know that if you find it very difficult to read and understand, then you should go for illustrative or annotated editions of text. There are certain annotated editions of text available. Suppose Shakespeare is very difficult to understand in Shakespearean language. Even many good readers, they don't dare to read Shakespeare in Shakespearean language. They read in Indian rendering, and even in Indian rendering, annotated books of Shakespeare are read. So annotated books are best to understand the connotative meanings of the text. For example, a few years back, means some 8 years back, I was asked to teach Waiting for Godot. And Waiting for Godot is a very it's a small text, but very difficult to understand, and I had to explain that text in the classroom to the MS students. So what I did, I consulted some of my senior colleagues, and they suggested me that I should either go for companion to Beckett, or I should buy an annotated Waiting for Godot from the market. So I bought annotated Waiting for Godot from the market. The same is Murder in the Cathedral, or same with the with other plays also. It is highly difficult to understand the text written by those native speakers or British writers and explain them in the classroom. So for understanding those texts, one must read and buy annotated editions of those texts. This is the first way. And second answer, that is writing. Writing can be developed by, means you are expected to write academically a very perfect language. That's why your question is about how to write academically good English on your blog. So for writing good in good English, uh, there is one dictionary that is dictionary of academic words, and and there is one book that also developing academic writing. These two books will definitely help you to develop your writing skill, and not just writing skill, but your language will be the language which you yourself will like it.
Okay, sir. Thank you. uh, then there is a question from Varsha Gavande, ma'am. Actually, she want to ask your opinion about translation method used in teaching. I think Devlalkar sir had given answer to this question in his first previous session. I would like to ask Borse sir, what is his opinion about it?
Sir, my small interruption. Varsha Gavande madam is our colleagues also. She can come live and ask the question.
Okay.
Hello, Varsha ma'am. Hello, Varsha ma'am. Are you there?
Yes,
Hello?
Yeah,
sir.
she is audible. Yes, yes,
ma'am. You
Yes,
can
yes.
ask.
yes.
Good
Ask
evening,
the
Srikanth Patil, sir.
yeah,
Good evening, ma'am.
And good evening, honorable speakers, and everybody here on this virtual platform. Uh, Devrankar, sir, actually, it's an intellectual treat to listen to you, and of course, you too, Dr. Borse, sir. Uh, my question is that many students, I teach to the graduation level, and many students who come to my college, they are from Marathi medium background. And it's really difficult to teach them right from the first year in complete English. So what I try in first year to go through the translation method. In second year, then I like reduce the translation method a bit. And in final year, the students are really means it's fact they become quite acquainted with English. But in the first year, sir, everybody more professors who I come across, they say that translation method nowadays is not of that importance. So my question once more to you, sir, please give your opinion about it.
Actually, in India, grammar translation method is the popular method to teach English. Throughout across our country, the English language is taught through translation only. So this is the most popular method, and this is the oldest method of teaching language, not just English language, but other languages also, grammar translation method. And second method which you use for your third year students of BA or graduation is direct method. So translation method is sometimes called as bilingual method. Means what we do, we just read the English sentences and translate those sentences into English. Both the methods are used in the classroom to teach the target language or to teach the English language. Actually, what is the problem with the target language, or what is the problem with the grammar translation method? That students are not made to think in the target language. What they do think in their mother tongue, and then they try to translate those sentences into the target language or into the English language. And that takes time. That's why in grammar translation method, communication is not important. In grammar translation method, grammar is important. Grammar is taught, vocabulary is increased, or enriched vocabulary is the target of grammar translation method. In grammar translation method, bilingual method is used, and that's why expected result is expected result doesn't come out. In target language, what happens? We learn the target language in grammar translation method, but in direct method, we are in a position to teach the students how to think in the target language. This is the first difference between grammar translation method and direct method. But in my opinion, if students are weak, then we must use grammar translation method. We must not go for the direct method, then the expected target cannot be achieved. So direct method can be used only to the students who are good in listening to the language, or those who are well familiar with the basics of this language. If you use direct method in the classroom, for the students who are not able to get what you speak in the classroom, then obviously they will flounder, and they will leave, or they will give up learning that language. So if you are following the best method for BA first year student and for BA second year student, you are going for the grammar translation method, and for BA third year student you are using direct method. This is the best practice, and you should continue with it.
Yeah, obviously, sir. She would like to hear also from Dhananjay Devlalkar, sir. Sir, please.
Actually, that language teaching for the vernacular medium students, as far English language is concerned, is a problem, because from the 5th standard onwards, the atmosphere in our surrounding is such that the people who go to English medium schools, the boys and girls who go to English medium schools, are considered superior in English. But I know that they are not superior. I have taught at Elphinstone College, and students were from St. Xavier's and Don Bosco, and they are poor in English too. They speak good English, but their grammar is not up to the mark. Now, what I personally feel, as far the translation method or direct method, that a teacher has to teach in direct method in such a way that students must understand. Your English is good. The problem is with the English of the students, no? If your English is good, they must understand it. A good language teacher, as far English language is concerned, is that whatever the subject matter of his teaching, even the 7th standard students of Jilla Parishad School of Parathwada must understand him or her, because his or her English is good. Forget about the English of the person who is listening to you. But continuously embarking on their head that you are from vernacular medium, you are duffer, you are Marathi medium student, you don't know the spelling, you don't understand the meaning of the word, I have to explain for you in Marathi. At all the times, then they also consider themselves that they are not good in English. Explain in Marathi. Ma'am, Marathit sanga. And we explain in Marathi. They understand the topic, but in the exam, problem comes. But what I personally feel, whether they understand or not, that's a different thing. But you have to start to teach it in direct method itself, so that that atmosphere will be created. They will be more attentive. They will pay attention to it. They will try to read some Marathi version of the same text or something like that. So the next time they will be little bit more careful when you speak, and the direct method will be helpful. It's not wrong that to teach in a translation method, but it will not help to achieve the goals that has been decided at the beginning of the classes. That's what I feel personally.
Yes, sir. Sir, there is Dr. Archana Dharme. She asked question through her chat. She want to ask you, as you say, sir, we are living in a social media world. Students don't like to read. Then how we can encourage them to read? I think this question is for Durgesh, sir.
How to encourage students for reading?
As they are living in a social media world, and they don't like to read. They like to watch.
Actually, I have heard many social media users that they don't read lengthy messages on social media also. Means length will determine whether those messages will be read or not. Actually, young generation students are very much interested in chatting, means interacting with small sentences. Actually, every era has its own problem. And this is the problem of the age, or the contemporary age, that we are going away from reading. Means we do not read, we do not devote our time in reading. So actually, some students, it's not a problem with all students, but some students are interested in reading, but they are not interested in reading for reading's sake. They are reading for preparing for competitive exams, or for passing certain kinds of entrance tests. What can be done? That it is the duty, or it is the responsibility of parents, that such kind of atmosphere or scenario must be created at home. If parents keep the books at home, then obviously children or boys or girls will see their parents, that their parents are reading. As Devdalkar sir has a big library at home, so what happens that he reads a lot, and that is the reason his two children, means his daughter and son, they are also interested in reading. No external force will create an interest in the students for reading. It is a thing that must be imbibed in the student. It is a kind of culture, it is a kind of habit that starts from the family. And that's why if somebody is a voracious and avid reader in a family, obviously children follow you as parents. They see you that you are reading. Even if a father is interested in reading newspaper every day, then what happens that daughter or a son sees his father or her father, that her father reads the newspaper every day, then they also read the newspaper. So it's a kind of habit that is inculcated, that is imbibed in student. No external mandatory rule will help the student to increase their interest in reading.
Dhananjay sir, you want to express yourself?
I'm very much critical about the Marathi people as far reading is concerned. We Marathi people, particularly Maharashtra, are the weakest people to read Marathi. Forget about English. Most of the Marathi publishers are not selling their books. That's why the cost of the book is very high.
Yes.
300 rupees, 500 rupees or something like that. No one purchased the books. We have the television of 30,000 rupees, mobile of 20,000 rupees, but we don't have a single journal or at least Lok Satta or Maharashtra Times at our home. And we are talking about developing reading habit and developing the human being. It will not happen instantly. That means an individual will not do anything. But by ourselves, by our action, because action is going to be imitated, not by the words. If words are going to be imitated until this time, whole India has to be good. Thousands of channelists and thousands of so-called gurus are there on Astha channel, giving discourses on religious and what is to do and what is not to do. Yet no one has changed. No corruption has been gone. No exploitation of women has been reduced. Nothing has happened because everything is verbose. Everything is words are there. No one follows it in practice. Because in order to follow it in practice, there must be some action in front of the person. If action is going to be understood, not the words. Words are bakwas. Words are meaningless. Words do not have. Even our lecture is also one type of bakwas. It will come afterwards. Very few people will get it. Unless until people see that I am reading, no one will follow me. I am reading. That means do exercise early in the morning, do yogasana, do kapalbhati. Ramdev Baba is talking for many years. No one do it. Listening doesn't. Because in order to do pranayam, I have to see his pranayam for 10 to 20 minutes. And my pranayam is over. I myself do not do it. So Marathi people do not read at all. They must have interest in it. But for what purpose they have to read, it's very much clear. We do not have clear goals in our lives. That's why it's not possible. That means reading is for the self-improvement. Reading is to know who am I, where I have to go, where my happiness lies, what is success, what is the definition of success. To earn money is not a success. But most of the times it has been imprinted on the minds of the youngsters from their childhood that you have to be a doctor, you have to be an engineer, you have to be at least a chartered accountant, somewhere you have to be. And for that purpose, you must know English. However good or bad as a human being, it's okay, but you have to be a doctor. If that purpose is there, if as a humans we are weakest to read, we do have to take the names of Sant Tukaram, Sant Jnaneshwar, Sant Eknath, and all that writers from before the independence and after the independence, but we are not serious readers. So reading itself, that means if we are not good readers, it's a social disease and we are the patients of it. It's much more serious than Corona. We will have a vaccine for Corona at least within 1 month or two, but for reading, it's not. But I myself will read, and whoever come across will see that I am reading. So at least someone will get sparked, initiated to read, and they will read. That we have to try from our side. Whether they read it or not, that's their question, but I have to read. We have to read. The listeners of these workshops have to read so that the others will read it, so that we will spread the light of reading to everywhere. Let us hope so.
Thank you, sir. There are few questions that can be asked, but we have time limitations. That's why I have to sum up this session. But before summing up and showing our gratitude towards you, I would like to listen from you in briefly, obviously. What is your opinion about the workshop, and if you have any suggestion to us, you can just give us.
Borse sir,
Is
please
it
reply.
for me? I explained my opinion at the beginning of this interactive
Yes,
session.
is there any suggestion?
Is it for me?
Yes, sir.
I was asked to asked to speak and summarize about the workshop in the beginning of this.
Yes, sir, I know, but if you have any suggestion to just give us how we improve.
There is no suggestion actually. Yeah, you have included good topics and speakers.
Just
I am
interrupt
very-
Borse sir. Dr. Borse sir, just I interrupt you
Yeah.
because we are one course, that is PG Diploma in English Communication Skills.
Yeah.
We run this course add-on basis. Means
Yeah.
here our Amravati University, there are 28 departments except English. We have 26 departments, and all these departments, the students for MSc, MA, MBA, simultaneously they can do this diploma. It is in add-on basis.
Yeah.
That's why your suggestion is needed. What we have the improve and what types of we can suggest them to take the admission in PG Diploma in English Communication Skill. It is a 1-year diploma to near about two. There is two. First is semester is before Diwali, and after Diwali is second semester. And we are time of this diploma is Saturday 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday whole day is our working day. So what types of your suggestion to monitor these types of diploma? We are monitor these. Which types we monitor these types of diploma?
Okay.
In add-on basis. Yes, sir.
Actually, sir, this is my personal opinion. Once again, every time whenever I speak or this is our personal opinion.
I also asked Devlalkar sir also.
Okay. Actually, people are good at their subjects. Means they are good at chemistry, they are good at physics, they are good at mathematics. But when the time comes to impart their knowledge in English, they fail, they flounder, because they don't have mastery over language. And that's why this add-on course must be made mandatory and essential to every student who seeks admission in your university, in any department, because that will be very much useful for them.
Yes.
But as you have mentioned that you conduct classes only for 2 days, Saturday half day and Sunday full day. So what actually I don't know what type of syllabus you have and which contents do you teach to the students. But what I personally feel that for 6 to 7 or for 4 to 5 days, as there are no classes, then at the end of Sunday classes, they must be given certain assignments to improve their skills of listening, reading, and speaking and writing skills. By giving them assignments, you can keep them engaged and in touch with the syllabus, or that will also be one way to revise what you teach on these 2 days. So
sure,
outcome can be checked out, outcome can be seen by giving certain assignment, and the assignment should be made mandatory. So when they will come next Sunday or next Saturday, those assignments can be collected, they should be evaluated, and their mistakes and their errors can be pointed out. In that way, they can improve, they can correct their mistakes. This is the first thing. Second, that syllabus should be made in such a way that your objectives should be very much clear, and those objectives can be easily achieved. So syllabus will determine the result. that is very much important. So for this, you can means as you have been looking into these matters for several years. So uh, you are well familiar with what kind of syllabus should be included, or what types of topics, or what types of content should be included in the syllabus. But still, practical approach should be there in the syllabus. Just don't teach the student for the sake of passing the exam final, or exam and giving them certificate. Whether uh, the students, after passing the exam or after getting the certificate, whether the students are really able to implement that knowledge into their career or into their day-to-day life, that should be evaluated, that should be considered while deciding the syllabus, or while taking the points or topics into the syllabus.
Thank you, sir.
Devalalkar sir.
Sir, what I feel personally that because these students have taken admission to MSc Physics, MSc Geography, or MA Geography like that, and they do not have everyday time to spare with you to learn this PG diploma in communication skills. But as you are using this platform of digital media to communicate to most of the participants, at least you can give a half an hour lecture or some type of assignments, as Borse sir has told, to all the students every day, that they have to listen that half an hour lecture, and they have to do some assignments and submit it on Saturday or Sunday. So that will keep them busy, and that will create an atmosphere around them to listen English. In the same way, I don't know whether you have language lab or not. Do you have language lab?
Yes,
Sir?
yes, sir. We have
So
language lab.
So the attendance of language lab has to be open at all the times. If they have free lectures, they can come and listen. So that will make them interested in it. So some type of audio, some type of video they will see. 5-6 students, they do not have practical because of some of the reasons. So instead of wasting their time, they come to the language lab, listen for half an hour, and make their own presentation. They have the conversation in it. And once they come into your department, make it compulsory to speak in English. If they speak wrong, then also it's okay. Let them speak only in English itself. That has to be made compulsory. And that will make them to think in English. And once they try to think in English, they will develop the habit of thinking in English. And once they think in English, they can speak fluent in English. To speak fluent English doesn't mean that they have to speak fast. To speak fluent English doesn't mean that they have to use the difficult words. To speak fluent English means they have to make their point clear across the table. So whatever the subject matter, whether the mathematics, physics, chemistry, they must have the command over the language, and the simplicity is most important. The person who speaks simple English is the fluent speaker of English. The person who speaks difficult English, I don't consider him as a speaker. Let him go to the Britain and to speak the difficult English. My student, my person who comes across him must understand that what he is talking about. So to teach simple English is to be the main objectives of our course, and it has to be achieved through the different practices and assignments of writing skill, listening skills, speaking skills, and so on. And one by one, we will develop it within 1 year of course.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Your suggestion is very appreciable and also acceptable, sir. We are doing these types of modules in coming years. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, I think this session is one of those beautiful sessions that we witnessed. Before concluding this session, I would like to again invite our beloved Dr. Shrikant Patil, sir. He'll show his sense of gratitude towards you, Dr. Shrikant Patil.
Thank you, Gatkar sir. Namaskar. I am Dr. Shrikant Patil, Director and Head, Department of Lifelong Learning Extension, Sant Gadge Baba, Amravati University, Amravati. Our valued resource person, dear participants, it's my pleasure to propose a vote of thanks. First of all, my sincere gratitude to Dr. Dhananjay Devlalkar sir, who joined yesterday and today also, for giving us this valuable time from their busy schedule in these 2 days. Sir, you give a very grassroots level answers to our students and to our participants. This was the need of these Vidarbha rural area students. You must know what types of graduation level students working their schedule. They come to college, and they, after the finishing 1 or 2 lectures, 1 or 2 periods, they goes to in Panthila and stand there. So I am very much eager to see, because in my last 6 years, I am also Director Student Welfare and Coordinator National Service Scheme. On that time, I number of camps and number of colleges visited, and I see all these things. So, sir, I am very thankful to Dr. Devlalkar sir. Secondly, I thank for Dr. Durgesh Borse sir. He is in associate professor in our Vidarbha Mahavidyalaya college. Sir, I must thank to you to spend your valuable time from your busy schedule. It was wonderful, meaningful to see your videos and its contents. So again, both of you, sir, very thankful. Thank you, and thank you again, sparing your unbeatable knowledge among all the participants. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you, sir. And I declare, with the permission of the organizer, that the session is over, and all participants can access the videos and the quiz and feedbacks on the website. Do visit the website and you'll have them. Thank you.